Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Star Trek Discovery review. If you haven't checked out episode 1, the link is in the description below. Please check it out, and please enjoy episode 2 review. Just keep in mind, everybody, that this is going to be a spoiler-filled review. If you guys haven't watched it yet and don't want it to get spoiled for you, then please stop watching. Or check the link in my description right now to watch the Trekyards spoiler-free review. But once again, this is going to have a lot of spoilers, so if you don't want it spoiled, stop watching now. Now, with that out of the way, let's get on with the review. So, my initial thoughts for this episode are kind of different from episode 1. It wasn't bad. It was alright. It was fast-paced, and not in a good way, I found. I felt things were moving fast that shouldn't have been moved fast. Yeah. This episode felt more like a generic sci-fi than an episode of Star Trek, in all honesty. Which is what I was afraid would happen with Star Trek Discovery. Hopefully this isn't going to be the case with the episodes to come, but that's what this episode felt like. It felt like a generic sci-fi in Star Trek clothing, basically. But anyways, so let's go over a quick synopsis of what happened. Once again, spoilers are coming, so if you don't want to hear it, skip ahead or don't watch. Alright, so this episode starts with a flashback. Burnham is coming aboard the Shinzao for the first time. We learn that she started off more like a Vulcan than an actual human. Just for the record, Burnham is a human, but she has been living on Vulcan, and she for most of her life, and she was actually been raised for most of her life by Sarek, Spock's father. She's technically his daughter now. So in this flashback, we see her. She's very, very Vulcan-like. And anyone who knows Star Trek knows exactly what I mean by that. Anyways, moving on with the synopsis. So the flashback ends. We get back to the present day, and we discover that there are 24 Klingon ships surrounding the Shenzhou. Burnham points out that there are 24 Klingon houses and suggests that someone might be trying to unite the houses together against the Federation. This slightly phases the captain, but not before sending Burnham to the brig for mutiny. We then see T'Kuvma speaking to 6 representatives of the 24 reinforcements that arrived. We learn a little about what happened to T'Kuvma as a child, what his mission is, which is to unite the Klingon houses to destroy the Federation. Then the Federation fleet arrives. The Klingon fleet opens fire, and heavy damage is taken on the Federation side in the opening volley. The Shenzhou gets hit by a fierce volley which causes multiple hull breaches, one of which is in the brig where Burnham is located. She survives thanks to emergency force fields, but for how long? The Shenzhou gets disabled and is being pulled into the asteroids surrounding the system, but gets saved at the last second by the USS Europa, the Admiral's ship, which finally arrives, which uses a tractor beam to pull them out. With the arrival of the Admiral's ship, there is hope to stop the conflict and start a dialogue with T'Kuvma. T'Kuvma agrees, but this is just a ruse. He takes his cloaked ship and rams the Europa, destroying it. As the fight starts to wind down, the Klingon fleet backs off and leaves the Federation to lick their wounds. Burnham convinces the computer to help her escape the brig by convincing it that her life is in danger. She makes it and heads to the bridge. There, she convinces the captain to capture T'Kuvma and not kill him. By killing him, you make him a martyr, and it would make the other Klingon houses vengeful. But by capturing him, it makes him look weak and might actually make the other Klingons back off. While they're having this conversation, they notice out the window that T'Kuvma is collecting their dead with tractor beams. So they beam a photon charge from a torpedo onto a Klingon corpse in hopes that it will get tractored aboard the Klingon ship and then cause heavy damage. This works, and boom. The ship takes some serious damage around the neck, and they take this opportunity to beam Burnham and the captain aboard. They get to T'Kuvma, and a fierce fight begins. Sadly, the captain of the Shenzhou gets killed by T'Kuvma, with Burnham presumably killing T'Kuvma with a phaser hit. They manage to transport Burnham back to the ship. The episode ends with Burnham getting court-martialed and sentenced to life in prison. But let's go over some things that I noted. Once again, these things that I note aren't necessarily bad things. There are bad things in there, but some of the things are good. So we discover in this episode that the Shenzhou is way older than the Constitution class. Now, I'm going to elaborate on this for a bit and why this is crazy. How did I ascertain this? So in the flashback at the beginning of the episode, Burnham is talking to the captain, and immediately, like I said, she's very Vulcan-like at the beginning of the episode, or at the beginning of her time on the Shenzhou, I should say. So she immediately starts insulting the ship by stating that their transporters are different. They do it on a different angle, and apparently it takes more power. And she's basically saying that we've abandoned this design in Vulcan because of those reasons. To which the captain responds, yes, as has Starfleet, but the Shenzhou is a very old ship. Now, why do I think the Shenzhou is more older than the Constitution class? That comment right there, and the fact that those transporters are old and antiquated. The ship must be older than the Constitution class, because as we know, the Constitution class has vertically aligned transporters, not horizontally aligned transporters like the ones on the Shenzhou. So they have the more, I guess, energy efficient versions of those transporters, meaning the Constitution class is more advanced and newer than the Shenzhou. Now, why is this crazy? And again, I'm going to repeat myself here. I understand that TOS happened in the 60s, and budgets and all that is why the show looked the way it looked. This still wasn't a problem for Star Trek when it was being done by the people who knew what they were doing. And I don't mean that as an insult. I mean that as experience. These people worked on Star Trek for 50 years, most of them, or a lot of them. Some of them were 50 years, most of them for like 30 years. But still, they knew Star Trek. So, we got Enterprise, which some people complained looked a little too advanced for the time, and you could agree, but the more you watch, the more it grew on you. And then they actually had an episode, it was a Mirror Universe episode in Mirror Darkly, where we get to see the Defiant from the TOS episode, where it shifts out of space-time continuum, and apparently it appears in the Mirror Universe in Star Trek's, in Enterprise's timeline. And we got to see that ship in action in that timeline with Enterprise tech alongside TOS tech. They did a really cool job of lighting the sets for the TOS ship, and honestly, it made it look advanced again. It made it look good. You could still believe that Enterprise advanced to what TOS ended up being. We know this can work, but then we got a ship like the Shenzhou, which is apparently older than the Constitution class, and it looks the way it looks. The Shenzhou looks more advanced in some ways than an Akira-class starship from the late 24th century. It looks, on the outside, very advanced. On the inside, when you compare the tech to what you see on Enterprise and what you see on TOS, it looks way too advanced. I mean, the holographic technology alone is bad, but I mean, like the see-through displays, the gear that's on some people's heads, like a lot of this stuff looks way too advanced for the timeline that they're in. And one thing that you should all note is that the Enterprise is currently in service right now when this is all happening. The Cage-era Enterprise is flying around the universe right now. And we all know what that ship looks like on the inside and the outside. It's not that advanced looking when you compare it to the Shinzo. The Shinzo looks like the more advanced, technologically superior ship. But it's not. So that bothers me right there. They made the Shinzo look way too advanced. I'm going to leave it at that and move on. Otherwise, I could talk about this forever. So let's touch on the Klingons for a second. I released a video, which is also linked in the description below, last week about the Klingon look being finally explained. Well, I think we may have been lied to, or maybe maybe people like me were hoping for the best and didn't want to think about the worst. What do I mean by that? Although the explanation for the differences in appearance by T'Kuvma's Klingons was recently explained in that interview that I covered in my past video, it seems that there was no weight to that info at all. Their different appearance was supposed to be because this was a ship of Klingons that grew separate from the Empire for over 200 years. They chose a Puritan way of life. This suggested that other Klingons would still exist at this point. Both the flat-headed Klingons, a product of the augment virus from Enterprise, and the pre-augment virus Enterprise/TNG style Klingons. This doesn't seem to be the case. We see 6 other Klingons from the reinforcements that are communicating with T'Kuvma over that ridiculously advanced holographic communications technology that they're using. All of them look just like T'Kuvma. This is a problem. This breaks canon so much. So much so that I'm going to stop there and make a video later explaining why this breaks canon to those of my viewers that aren't lifelong Star Trek fans, that don't understand why some Star Trek fans are very pissed off about what they've done to Klingons in Discovery. So this is a serious thing. They really screwed this up, and I'm not happy about it. But let's move on. The Federation fleet that arrives is made up of some interesting designs. I'm happy with all the Federation ships that showed up. The only problem I had is none of them look anything like ships of this era. Like I said earlier, we got to keep in mind that the USS Enterprise is more advanced than the Shinzo and is currently in service at this point in time. So you would think that there would still be some ships that look similar to the Enterprise at the very least. They could have included a Constitution class that warped in, but they didn't. I can buy that there's a bunch of different designs, which is why I'm happy with the ships with the ships that arrived. I was happy with those looks, but they really should have had some ships in there that looked similar to TOS design. Some ships with similar warp nacelles and hull coloring, just to cement the fact that this is a very expansive fleet and that their ships, the TOS ships, still exist. But they didn't do that, and I think that is a flaw. They really got to start pulling from canon a bit more, visually as well, to keep the diehard fans interested in this series. But that's it. You know, that's what I took away from this episode. Those are the things that stood out the most to me. Again, I probably missed some stuff, but that's what I found. Those are the things that I found interesting or irritating. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like I said, this episode did feel more like a generic sci-fi TV show than it did Star Trek. But you know, it's the second episode. It took a lot of series like Deep Space Nine for me. As a younger person, as I got older, I had more of appreciation for the earlier seasons, but it didn't really become a great series until the beginning of season 4, when Sisko gets his ship and the war with the Dominion has started. That's when the series really picks up. Voyager doesn't really pick up until season 2, maybe season 3 as well. A lot of people say that TNG didn't really pick up until like season 3. I personally liked all of TNG. I mean, there were some episodes that were pretty campy and crappy. But I actually personally liked most of TNG, so I don't agree with those people. But still, we're only into episode 2. I'm still hoping for good things. There are things that are obviously really irritating me. This whole thing with the Klingons all looking like Takuma's Klingons. I mean, when I got my hands on that interview, I was so excited because there was my explanation. This is why the Klingons on Takuma's side look so different. Oh, this hints that we might actually be able to see what proper Klingons, flat-headed Klingons, TNG-style Klingons. But again, it just doesn't seem like the thing that they're going to do. I mean, if anything, why can't they just throw some goddamn hair on the other Klingon houses? Because the design that they went with looks pretty neat. I can visually reboot that in my head a little bit. Throw some fucking hair on these Klingons, and then we got some, still doesn't look right but is better type Klingons roaming around in Discovery. I don't know. I'm just so upset that I don't even think I'm making sense anymore. Anyways, let's rate this. So, was this a good Star Trek episode? I mean, it's got Star Trek in the name. Is that enough? Not really. I think it's going to get a 2 out of 5 for me. It was good, which is why it's not getting a 1. But, like I said, it felt like a generic sci-fi show to me. At least this episode did. But who knows? Again, this is only episode 2. Things might pick up in the next episode or episodes to come. And I will definitely be watching. I'm not going to abandon this series no matter how much it bothers me. I've waited a long time for Star Trek to come back on TV, and I want to give this a good old college try, and we'll see how long that lasts. I'm a very patient man, so I'm probably going to see the entire series. I mean, I hate the JJ films, but I've seen all 3, right? Because I'm always hoping the next one will be better. I mean, it took 3 films for them to have a good reboot film. And just for the record, they should have honestly opened with that. Star Trek Beyond, if that was the first Star Trek rebooted movie, I think the rebooted franchise would have done better, personally, with fans like me who are obsessed with canon. Because it didn't involve time travel or anything like that, so it didn't involve the Prime Universe, which means you had an open slate to do whatever the hell you wanted with these characters. Anyways, that's a different video. So like I said, 2 out of 5. There's my rating. I'm going to shut up now. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you don't, you can give it a thumbs down. If you like my content and want to see more of it, click on that subscribe button, and don't forget to click on the bell notification button so that you'll be notified when I upload new reviews for Star Trek Discovery and other stuff. Also, please feel free to check out my other videos. Alright, everybody, see you next time. Live long and prosper.